Hello. I want to follow up on my last video that was called Why We Fail to Understand Truth a lot of times, even when truth is staring us in the face. So its ability to actually discern truth from propaganda, because the propaganda regarding gold, silver, stock markets, real estate market prices is overwhelming in the mainstream media. There's almost nothing that is being told that is truthful these days. Government statistics about inflation, about unemployment, about housing starts are all full of propaganda and lies. Please stay tuned to the end of this video because I'm going to give you a very simple exercise that won't take you that long that I think will go a long way to helping you become a divergent thinker if you are a convergent thinker today. And also will go a long way to changing how easily you perhaps may accept something that is just told to you in the mainstream media without doing any research on your own to confirm whether or not this is actually true. There are a number of reasons why, I can think of three off the top of my head, why a lot of us cling to lies instead of truth. One just has to do with institutional academics, because there have been many studies. Again, I'll post links below because, as I always say, do your own research to confirm anything that I say. But there's been a lot of research by those involved in education. Off the top of my head, I can think of a British gentleman named Ken Robinson who conducted a longitudinal study whereby he basically looked at assessing children's creativity from the time they were preschool, not before they entered the institutional academic system, and then compared it over time, like every 3, 4, 5 years, retested them, the same students, and then by the time they were graduated from high school. And he found that the institutional academic system slammed children's creativity. So he found that before they entered the academic system, they were very much divergent thinkers, which basically means they thought of many various solutions to the same question that was posed to them. But by the time they graduated, they all became overwhelmingly, because I think it went from 98% divergent thinkers to 98% convergent thinkers. So it overwhelmingly was an academic system. But I know the stats are overwhelming, but I'll put the links to the study below so you can check it out. I'm not positive, but it was something overwhelming like that in the percent conversion from divergent to convergent thinkers. Whereas convergent thinkers only consider one solution for every question or every problem. So thus, it's easy to see why people now, if they hold a belief, since people have been trained through academia to become a convergent thinker, that they won't consider any other possible alternative explanation, and that they'll just basically dismiss any argument that opposes theirs, because we've all been trained to be convergent thinkers. Secondly, I've spoken about this before, is just the gladiator effect, where we have modern sports that just serves as distractions. War is the same. Modern day wars are serve as distractions from what's going on economically in the world. And so a lot of global leaders take their countries to war whenever things, and this is historically true, whenever economic times are troubling in their nation, they go to war. So people forget about the troubling financial situations that confront them, because war is a much more serious endeavor and struggle to face, obviously. So real quickly on this topic, I'm going to insert a short clip right now by this comedian Trevor Noah, who is from South Africa. And he talks about the American obsession with statistics in sports. He talks about how Americans know every single little stat about their favorite player, but when it comes to important stuff that affects our daily lives, like the truth about banking and finance, that we have no clue. So it's kind of funny. So here's a lighthearted moment of comedy, and then I'll be back.
Sports. Sports is the highest thing. No, sports is the biggest thing in America. That's just number one. It would be, troops is up there though. So I would say the rankings would be sports, the Kardashians, the president, then the troops. That would be, because you guys love the Kardashians. Let's be honest, Americans are just, I've never seen anything like it. Guys did Kim get home okay? Did she? Yeah? Okay, go. Yeah, check on Obama. Okay, cool. All right. Just, that's the ranking. But sports is just nuts. Wow. You guys love your sports out here. I've never seen more focus put on sports anywhere else in the world. Americans love their sports back to front. You analyze them, you worship them, you watch the game before the game, you watch the game after the game. You talk about what might happen in the game, you talk about what's happening in the game, and then you talk about what happened in the game and what could have and might have but didn't happen in the game. It's just the craziest thing I've seen in my life. It's all about statistics. Have you seen sports in America? Non-stop. Guys just come out there. There's no time for smiles or anything. Just come out. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to it. It's the 2012 Miami Heat up against the OKC. This is the greatest final we've been waiting for in the NBA Finals. LeBron James leading his team out here, averaging 30 points, double-double every single game, 10 points per game just in assists alone. This man is just something else. 90% from the free throw line. He's just gone in. He's statistically gotten better. His team coming in with more. Chris Bosh coming in with more assists, really doing well in the last game. Just like, wow, wow. Numbers, stats. You guys know everything, every stat. Well, I mean, he's got 4 out of 5, and I mean, if you look at that statistic alone, it looks like he should be getting forward. He should be, and then it's just crazy. You know everything, and then you switch over to like your business channels and your economy, and you're like, what's happening in the economy this year, Bob? Well, nobody knows. I mean, nobody knows. Yeah. We thought the housing market was coming up, but it wasn't. But hey, I mean, that's the economy. You never know, right? You never know. What about stocks? Well, I guess stocks, they're up and down. I don't really know. They're up and down. They could go anywhere. It's those are stocks. We don't know. But the sports, you know, you need to flip that around. You forget the statistics in the economy. Just relax in your sports. Have fun. That's the sports I watch, is relax, like soccer. I'm a huge fan of soccer, you know. Yeah. Oh, there's some fans here. I love soccer. It's chilled. You hear it in the commentators when a game is being played. There's no statistics at all. Game starts off, the whistle blows, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this majestic match. It's Spain playing against Germany. Oh, and what a wonderful day it is. Look at the crowd, really excited. Oh, and the atmosphere is amazing. Wonderful weather. And the guys will just like, oh, yeah, John, you can feel it. The players look great. It's wonderful. What do you think is going to happen today, Martin? Oh, nobody knows. I can't even remember the last time I saw a game this good. Americans will remember. Americans will go back to the finest statistic. The last time a black man scored using his left hand, jumping over a mixed race, half Indian, was in 1967 when the, okay, they're like, what? This is madness.
And thirdly is just ego, because a lot of us that, if we've held this belief, say, for 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years if you're older, and then all of a sudden are confronted with the possibility that something you have believed for possibly your entire lifetime is wrong, then many of us just will dismiss the contrary argument because we don't want to feel stupid for having believed something that is wrong in our entire lives. But on the contrary, actually, that kind of flexibility to be a divergent thinker instead of a convergent thinker just makes us more intelligent, because we would continue to progress in our knowledge and information over our lifespan instead of being so closed off to any kind of new knowledge that's presented to us. So here's the task at hand that I am going to give everyone. And that's to find one thing that you firmly believe is true this week and then prove it to be wrong through research. Because I guarantee you all of us have multiple beliefs that we have even today that we think is true but is wrong. So it shouldn't be that hard, and if you're having a hard time discovering that, then maybe it just means you're not either willing and open enough to consider that any beliefs you have might be wrong, or B, that you are not willing actually to be open to this idea, because everyone should be able to find things that they're wrong about. I'll give you a prime example. For example, I just started I changed the way I eat to something called the Warrior Diet, and if any of you are interested, I'll put it below. And it just cuts your caloric intake extremely during the day, so you stress your body calorically during the day, and you have only one meal a day. It's a huge meal at night. So I'd always been trained to think that, not trained, but I guess through various articles I read, or maybe even nutrition classes in school, that to think that breakfast was the most important meal of the day. And I believe this my entire life. Breakfast was, up until I started this diet, just like, and it's not a diet in terms of like trying to lose weight or anything like that. It's just a diet for, something like you permanently will do for the rest of your life if your body is amenable to this diet, just as a way of being healthy. So I thought that sounds crazy, but I said, hey, I'm just going to try this out because I'm always open to trying new ideas, because I had read recently that a lot of professional athletes are on this diet. So I assume a professional athlete to have a huge amount of energy that they're expending during the course of their physical activity, and they are happy and they're healthy on this diet. Then I said, hey, I'm going to give it a go too, just to see how my body reacts to it. Because when I read about it, they say not all people's biorhythms or their bodies will be fit for this type of eating pattern, but others, it will be, and something you can do for the rest of your life if you choose. And when I started, I actually found out that the spikes of insulin from eating like large meals during the course of the day, a large breakfast or a large lunch, and then having your energy crash during the day, disappeared, and that my energy levels will actually much more even, but even at a consistently higher level through the course of the day. And even though the first 4 days I did it, I was very, very hungry during the course of the day. It's not like you don't eat at all, but in the morning you basically just juice. So you, like I typically will drink like spinach, carrot, ginger, and apple juice, and then drink water and coffee. That's it. In the afternoon you eat very light, just like a handful of nuts like almonds or berries, but only then, like every 3-4 hours, and that's about it, or a cup of yogurt, and that's all you consume. And then until at night you have a big meal. And I actually have been working out before my big meal, and I found that my energy levels are not low as I thought they would be, but that my workouts have still been great. So that is something I believe my whole life, that I found personally for myself not to be true at all, that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. And so if you're having a hard time, just think about history, because every country teaches false history. So there should be something about your country's history that you can find that you believe to be true that is absolutely wrong. Another thing that I've been questioning lately was all the history that I learned when I was just a child in school, like the pyramids were built around 2500 BC. Now, they say that's attributable only to 3 flimsy pieces of circumstantial evidence, one of which is this our cartouche that is attributed to the Egyptian pharaoh Khafra, that was on a stele that another Egyptian pharaoh built that was close to the Sphinx and the Great Pyramids of Giza. And that's why they say, oh, Khafra must have built the Sphinx and the pyramids, and that thus it was attributed to 2500 BC. Now the interesting thing is that there's another train of thought that the pyramids and the Sphinx are dated at least to 10,450 BC. And they say that's attributable because the 3 pyramids align with the stars of Orion's belt, and the last time, because of the tilt of the Earth around its own axis and then the orbit of the Earth around the Sun, that the position of the stars changed so slightly over time, and the last time they were aligned in the exact alignment of the Great Pyramids was in 10,450 BC. But there's also flaws with that theory as well, because some people say, well, an asteroid hit the Earth or some great event. People, of course, think an asteroid hit the Earth that wiped out the dinosaurs, but there could have been multiple asteroids as well that could have shifted the tilt of the Earth around its own axis, which, of course, would shift the position of the stars in the sky, and therefore you can't accurately date it back to 10,450 BC. But the incredible thing is, this is an incredible thing, because I've been reading some books about archaeology lately. They say that you are shunned, if you're an archaeologist, if you suggest that those structures were dated prior, or built prior to 2500 BC. In fact, Carol Redmond, an archaeologist at the University of California, Berkeley, says, quote unquote, there's just no way that could be true. The people of that region would not have had the technology, the governing institutions, or even the will to build such a structure thousands of years before Khafra's reign. So again, the interesting thing is not that there is some dispute over whether it's built. But because the interesting thing is that the Egyptologists are so closed off to consideration of any other possibility. Like, technology and knowledge has to progress in a linear fashion that it couldn't possibly ebb and flow, and perhaps there were previous generations before us that were intellectually much more advanced than us, that had technology more advanced than us. I mean, that's possible. No one knows. The point is, this was 2,000 or 10,000 years ago. No one was around. The fact is, there's no carbon dating for stone, so that's why they can't date these magnificent architectural accomplishments accurately. So no one knows. So it's amazing that people are so convergent in their thinking that they take three flimsy pieces of circumstantial evidence to say this is the only conclusion that can be drawn. That is the point. So, you know, just like even, I don't know, I question a lot of things I think about. Even when I hear that Edmund Hillary, you always hear Edmund Hillary is the first person to summit Mount Everest. He's a New Zealander. But actually there was also Nepalese Sherpa, Tenzing, I can't remember his last name, but Tenzing something. And the fact of the matter is, we don't know if anyone summited Everest before 1953. Hey, if the Egyptians could build pyramids in, you know, 2,500 or 10,000 BC that befuddle us, then obviously probably people had the technology to summit Everest around that time as well. So we just don't know, but we assume all these things and we never question. So that's the point, is we should just always question. The more you question, the more you're going to arrive at the truth. The less you question, the more your thinking becomes convergent instead of divergent, and you'll probably die and go to your grave believing tons of lies that were taught to you. So this is my basic point. We have a hard time even knowing what's the truth about stuff that happened like a week ago with, say, Malaysian Airlines MH17. There's, you know, so many accusations. Okay, the Russians are saying the Ukrainians shot it down, and they're just trying to frame the Russians. The Ukrainians are saying the Russians shot the plane down. I mean, no one really knows what the truth is. And it's so hard to know what the truth is, and yet people are so sure they know the truth of events that happened thousands of years ago. That, to me, is ludicrous. So I urge all of you to do this simple exercise, is to find something that you believe to be true. Again, if you need help, just look at history, because I'm sure you can find something in your history that you believe to be true. Research it and you find that's wrong, and that alone, finding just something that you believe for so long to be untrue, will help open you up to be more acceptant and willing to explore other points of view that don't agree with yours. Not only that, and also help you strip away all the damage of institutional academics, which turned you as a young child from a divergent thinker into a convergent thinker, and perhaps change you back into being a divergent thinker. Okay, thanks a lot for watching. As always, remain intensely curious, and until next time, so long.